Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here and welcome to my first segment, Pokemon Theories. Hey Pokemon Trainers, Birdkeeper Toby here. Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here. Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here.
The 26th of December 2014 is when I started my YouTube channel. Now, 9 years later, it's time to take a break, possibly a permanent break. I don't know what the future will be, and I have to treat this as a goodbye because I don't know, it may genuinely be. I set out to do a YouTube channel, to Birdkeeper Toby. The moment I had the idea, it made so much sense. Of course I should do this. I should talk about my passion, Pokemon, the franchise that I love more than I think anyone else loves Pokemon. That's how I felt back then. Times have changed, and I feel like the project has been a success. I'm happy with everything I've made. I wanted to make this a place to explore Pokemon lore and Pokemon theories and my love of our franchise, but now time has moved on. I'm nearly 30, and I want to explore more of the world. I might be back permanently in the future. I might be back in little dribs and drabs. I may do compilation videos next year of some of my best and worst videos from the last 9 years. I'm excited for this change, and I'm happy to kind of put Birdkeeper Toby to rest. So to do that now with this video, and this may or may not be the last video, I may have one more little surprise waiting for you in the next couple of days. And to wrap up the year and to wrap up this nearer decade of doing Birdkeeper Toby, I want to just look back through the history of the channel. Whether you were someone who joined at the very beginning or someone who's joined recently, let's look back together at some of the kind of big moments of Birdkeeper Toby. I'm Toby. Hi, Birdkeeper Toby. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. Okay, I've written it down all here, and I don't want it to sound like I'm rattling off a list, but it may do a little bit. So let's start. 2014, the channel only existed for about a week because, again, it was December 26th. I'd had the idea. I remember having the idea just before going to a party. I was watching my best friend Falcone stream Hearthstone, his favorite game, and I thought, man, I'd love to make videos about my favorite video game. The ideas merged together, and of course, I had to do it. Birdkeeper Toby, named after Birdkeeper Toby in the Johto region. He is just to the kind of northeast of Olivine City. There's also a Birdkeeper Theo in the Olivine Lighthouse. Theo is my brother's name, and this is why I remembered it. My brother and I used to play Pokemon together at the top of the stairs when we were kids, outside of our bedrooms when we were supposed to be in bed. We'd meet up in the hallway and get our games out and get out the link cable. I would play Yellow, he would play Silver, and I always remembered Birdkeeper Toby and Birdkeeper Theo, and that's where Birdkeeper Toby came from. I chose the name because I wanted my name, Toby, to be part of the channel, so that you could feel like over the years like you got to know me. And while I do think I've managed to be kind of, you know, pretty much myself on the channel, I'll admit that Birdkeeper Toby has always sort of been like a facet. I've kept my private life relatively private and that kind of thing, but I've never felt inorganic, you know, in who I've been presenting. I just want to be more of myself now and what I do in my full-time job. So whatever that'll be in the future, I don't know. Anyway, Birdkeeper Toby. 2015 was the first year, and it's the only year in the whole history of the channel where there has not been a new Pokemon game. There was lots of talks about Pokemon X and Y2, Pokemon Z version, Pokemon XZ and YZ. I remember first seeing the little Zygarde blob and thinking, is that a Duskull pre-evolution? I launched the channel with like 5 videos at once. The Birdkeeper Toby Wants to Battle Challenge, which I did every single year as a way of getting to know the community and the community getting to know me. My Crystal Onyx Pokemon Theory, of course. My top 10 favorite Kanto Pokemon, the beginning of a new series for the channel. A little introduction to me and just who I was and what the deal was, and also a TCG video. TCG would struggle to find a home here on the channel. Eventually, I would make Cardkeeper Toby a spin-off channel with about 8,000 subscribers and make card videos for the better part of 2 to 3 years. In that first year, I had a couple big videos. I remember working on this video to do with Regice, inspired by Vsauce's This Pokemon Will Kill You, and it was about how Regice would kill you by freezing you because its temperature is so ridiculously low. Vsauce 3, Jake Rober, has been a huge inspiration to this channel, and actually later on in my YouTube career, one of my videos got noticed by him on Twitter. He watched it and complimented me, and that meant just the world to me. Obviously, Hey Pokemon Masters comes from Hey Vsauce, something I'll try not to so candidly rip off in the future. I had a wonderful time around Halloween in the first year of the channel where I made a video about Lavender Town and Lavender Town Syndrome and if it could really happen. That video is no longer publicly available because at the time time, you know, different mindset towards YouTube, I had taken a little bit of somebody else's content and put that in the video without really asking them for permission. It was an animation, just like a little bit of visual something. It wasn't the core of the content, but I didn't feel good about the fact that I'd never asked them for that permission, and so it remains unlisted at the moment. Maybe I'll get permission for that in the future, and you'll see it in a compilation video. Halloween did kind of become a staple every year, with me trying to hit a cool Halloween video every single year. In my first year, there were a couple big theories. There was Who is Valerie, which is a theory that is just wrong. It does not make sense for the Pokemon canon anymore, and maybe didn't really for the time. There was a video on Amore shipping, which is the relationship between Ash Ketchum and Serena in the animated series. I didn't really cover the Pokemon anime. I didn't really care about Amore shipping. I just had an interesting take to do with like the original Pokemon movie and the original writer's intent. If they were doing a romance for Ash Ketchum, would it mean the end of his journey? It didn't. The theory was wrong, but it was the first video of mine to get, I think, over 100,000 views. It was my first blow-up video, which, by the way, I never really had on this channel. I have, to this day, never had a 1 million view video over 9 years. I've always had a very steady and consistent YouTube career, and I've actually been very grateful for that. Not blowing up into the spotlight anywhere, but just kind of plodding along, doing my thing, doing well enough to make it a career. Yeah, I've been really happy with the level of success that this channel has achieved. In my first year, I did like 22, 23 collaborations with other YouTubers. Other YouTubers saw my content and went, yeah, you know what? We kind of like what you're doing. These have been some long-term friends and some that, you know, were long-term friends, but that we just haven't spoken in a while. You know, these include huge channels, Game Boy Luke, Hoodlums Crafty, PD Winnel, Ace Trainer Liam, MJTV, True Green 7, like, and the names go on and on and on and on and on. I got to meet so many incredible, wonderful people, and in the first year, I got to collaborate with my mum a bunch in a series called Mums Don't Understand Pokemon, where I would tell mum about Pokemon, and she wouldn't understand, bless. I am a cruel, cruel son. 32,000 subscribers in the first year. Absolutely huge, absolutely incredible. It was the sign that I could do this. I really could make YouTube a career. In 2016, we saw the My Pokemon Gym series start. I entered a competition with YouTube called YouTube Next Up, and I was one of the recipients. I was one of the winners. I got to go to the YouTube space in London for a week where they taught me some things that I already knew and some things that I didn't about cameras and lighting and the YouTube algorithm and advice about Patreon. I started a Patreon, and over the years, I think like 600 people individually over the course of the years have supported this channel here via the Patreon. The Patreon allowed me to hire editors and GFX artists to get more videos out to you. It was a real step up for the channel, and that backbone to the channel has meant the absolute world. For those of you who don't know as well, next year, while I'm not uploading, the Patreon will be paused. If I am to come back in the future, I will let the Patreons know before I turn the Patreon back on. I was also wrapping up university in 2016. 2016 was a kind of just personally very difficult year. There was a lot going on behind the scenes, but we plodded on through, including the end of university, and my final university project was Evolution 101, a video that has become one of the most popular on the channel, explaining the basics of just how evolution works, but using Pokemon as a proxy for it. This idea of Squirtle and Lapras and Tirtouga as a fossil, you know, with some beautiful animation. I got to work with an animator again, thanks to the Patreons. And this all came together in a way where it would start a spark that, of course, later would evolve into the whole Evolution Tree series, which became, of course, a poster, and then an updated poster, and an updated poster, which, again, just further supported the channel and allowed for this to be a career. That idea was so much fun. And, of course, in 2016, we saw Sun and Moon, my first Pokemon games here on YouTube. And I gotta admit, you know, even if in retrospect I don't love playing the games, I love the world of Alola. I love the Pokemon that we got to see and catch there. I love the idea of Ultra Beast and what it did for the Pokemon lore. Sun and Moon was a really fun time for the channel. It was new and fresh for me. There was nothing formulaic about it because it was the first time for me here on YouTube doing an Alola week where I got to cover a new video every single day about the Alola region. And when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out the following year, I got to do it all over again. Of course, covering the releases of Sun and Moon and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in 2017 was me PD Winnell, H-Trainer Liam, Candy Evie, and Cerebi.net across 2 seasons of the Elite Four podcast, which I know was a jumping on point for many. Thank you to everyone who kind of came in from that podcast. I love it, and it is a cherished memory for me. Of course, I got to meet Joe Merrick, who runs Cerebi.net, a site I had used all throughout my sort of childhood and time playing Pokemon. I remember the first time I met Joe, I sort of, when he came up to me and I thought he was a viewer because I didn't know what he looked like, and he said to me, hey, you know, Toby, nice to meet you. And I sort of went, hey, you want a picture kind of thing? And then he was like, I'm Joe, I run Cerebi. I was like, oh no, I'm a fan of you. That's how that works. And this, what an incredible experience. And we got to do like a Q&A here on the channel. And yeah, it was a big milestone for me as a Pokemon fan. I still think that my version of the Poke-Earth is better than his, but we'll argue about that off on Discord. Speaking of the sort of big milestones as a YouTuber, I got to go to my first event, Summer in the City, which was an event I had gone to as a fan, run by my friend Tom. He also managed to get me to kind of meet the people at Pokemon for the first time ever, which was still hugely grateful for. I will actually be going to MegaCon, which is kind of the spiritual successor of Summer in the City, in January next year. So if you do want to meet me as a retired Pokemon YouTuber, you certainly can do so there. I'll leave links to that event in the description. And yeah, I got to meet Pokemon for the first time. As a Pokemon fan, that was huge to kind of get to meet the people behind the curtain, behind the franchise, to hear their advice and what they like about working with people and what they don't and that kind of thing. That was at the XY Evolutions launch party for the TCG set, and actually over the years, over 9 years, I've got a list on my phone. I have either been gifted experiences by Pokemon or done sponsored deals with Pokemon and their associated kind of brand partners, whether that's Original Stitch or Pokemon Masters or that kind of thing, nearly, I think it's like 99 or 100 times. To do that over a 9-year career as a Pokemon fan, I'm incredibly blessed, and I won't go into all of those different things, but there were a couple, obviously, that were huge standouts, including the Pokemon Tour Bus for the Galar region. That was in 2019 or 20, and of course, getting to play Let's Go Pikachu early and upload that to the channel. At the time, it was my most popular video with 800,000 views. Of course, nowadays, my most popular video is the Tree of Evolution complete video, which I think, yeah, stands around a similar number. Oh, I also forgot to mention, in my first year of the channel, I met Veronica Taylor, the original voice actress for Ash Ketchum. She is just such a lovely, bubbly personality. She's got a podcast that she does with her daughter Rena that I'd really recommend you go listen to, called Trainer's Guide. They're recapping the sort of original series of Pokemon. And Veronica very kindly, after I bawled my eyes out realizing there's no one I'd rather meet than Ash Ketchum, did a little voice clip, which you've heard at the end of many of my videos over the years. I ended that second year, 2016, with 130,000 subscribers and got my silver play button. Thank you. This was you. This was your doing. It means the world. It was at this time when I was meeting people at events that they would most commonly say that they knew me from Lockstin's channel, from his massive "This is the end" Pokemon theory. Lockstin has always been a dear friend to me and a mentor in this community. And actually, when we first worked together, I was the person as the Pokemon host on his channel before he was a Pokemon channel officially, which of course now he is. So hopefully I've had a positive influence on him. Yeah, I'm taking credit. I did these sort of over the course of 2016 and 17, I'd do these rebrands where I just kind of take a little break for a couple of weeks, realizing that I was really just working on the channel a lot, and I would do new banners and icons and intros and outros and that kind of thing, just to kind of try and keep things fresh, and I try and keep them fresh with the turn of the latest things coming out. So for Virtual Console Johto, Gold, Silver, Crystal, it was all about Ho-Oh. I got to work with Game Tea on some fan posters, which are sadly no longer available. They were so cool. I love the Game Tea company. I have an affiliate link for them, which again, I'll leave in the description. If you want to get anything for anyone as a present, I would recommend Game Tea, especially if you're in the UK, but I think they ship worldwide. Of course, in the first couple of years, we had the launch of my original merch, which is now available for the very last time. Again, links in the description. At the end of the year, it's gone forever. And the rise and birth of Team Snooze, my evil team that so many of you signed up for using a Google form to kind of become part of this idea of a evil team that just kind of wants to lay about and keep it chill and sleep. There's been a whole roleplay over on the Discord where people roleplay as Team Snooze members. Again, link to the Discord. Everything will be linked in the description. I started an impromptu augmented reality game, leaving coded messages in the comments and descriptions of a number of videos around Halloween. Thank you to everyone who took part in that. That was really fun. Accompanying Team Snooze, there was Bird Sleeper Toby, a joke Instagram account of me sleeping at events because I can sleep anywhere. A special solo run of Pokemon Platinum with a Barrel called Miyamoto, the monster Barrel that took on Platinum version all on its own. Later on, we did the same thing in Pokemon Black and White. It was Black 2 or White 2, I'm not sure, with Rolo, the Lillipup that became, of course, a Stoutland, the solo Rolo run. We tried a lot of different times of streaming on YouTube, on Twitch. I never really found a way that streaming would work for me over the years. I tried a lot of different variations. Heck, who knows? Maybe that's something that will be a thing in the future. I just can't say at this point. And of course, in 2018, the launch of the Tree of Evolution series, which has kind of become the foundational backbone of the channel. It was one of the last videos that I got to shoot at the YouTube space in London. The YouTube space in London did close, unfortunately, in 2019, 2020, but it was always a place where they would have these sets and they would have access to cool equipment, and as a resource for someone like me to go in and get to use that technology to make my videos really stand out, it really excited me. If they had like for example, they had like a bar as a set, I would have to think of a video to do with a bar because I wanted to use the set. And of course, one time they had the set of the recently released Blade Runner movie in there as a collaboration with Sony, and they said that I could borrow the set for a couple hours one day when no one was using it. And so I went in with my friend Mike Dean, who I filmed a lot of my big videos with, and yeah, we made what is one of my favorite videos on the whole channel, all about the Ultra Beasts. I'll leave a link to that as well in the description. It is one of the best videos that I made. Just the production quality is wonderful. Thank you to Mike for working with me. And I was doing that stuff before we had sets, you know, like when I was at university, me and Falcone, we made like for our special effects unit, we did our Pokemon movie, like what if Pokemon were real video. This was like pre-Detective Pikachu, obviously, and I think we did a better job of it. I did keep on updating the year of release on the title, like to always be the next year. So who knows, maybe 2024 it'll finally come out. I traveled out to the west coast of America for the first time and filmed videos while traveling called Let's Go Explore, and they were so much fun. I then, almost as soon as I arrived back, took part in this Facebook London Lab program where I got to go to Facebook for a month and just work in their kind of offices. And while they were teaching us largely about Instagram and Facebook content, I filmed a nice comedy skit for YouTube. One of my funniest videos, for sure, even if it was a little bit ripped off of an old Rooster Teeth short. Working on those videos, or as I would come to call them, Pokemon epics, like the one in the old Chateau and the one where I'm talking about Togepi. These videos really were the thing that made me feel that my channel was special and that I lived for and thrived for, but sadly they became harder and harder to produce after the YouTube space closed because I just didn't have access to the sets. I did find a way in 2020. I think I did one with the Reggies, all about the Reggies, in a barrow nearby, but you know, the videos became harder to just produce as I had access to less stuff, which is fine. I was becoming more of a regular YouTuber, covering the news, that kind of thing, with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then of course in 2019 Pokemon Sword and Shield, based on my own home region. Oh my, it's super exciting. Sorry, I feel like I'm pontificating a lot, if that's the word. Pokemon Sword and Shield based on my home country. I mean, that was really exciting. I was so happy to see the Galar region come to fruition, and like I say, the Pokemon bus thing that I got to do was pretty special. But I think it was around that time that I was beginning to feel that perhaps it was getting a little bit formulaic, and that I was very much repeating the same content that I had been making year after year. I was looking for a way to kind of keep things fresh, and I knew that I wanted to see the Gen 4 remakes. It was the Gen 3 remakes that inspired me to start the channel, so I knew I was going to wait for them. And the very next year, of course, there was DLC, so I was like, I'll try and push through the DLC. Then, of course, a pandemic happened, which meant we were all locked inside, and so I felt an obligation to keep doing YouTube, and I think I kind of ruined the channel for myself a little bit, where I just made work my escape from reality completely. It was around that time that the wonderful Cupperfee, previously known as the Last Shaman, moved in and started living with me, and she has now, of course, started her YouTube channel and her journey, more on that later, and so at least I was in good company. But I think this is where the fun of YouTube started to drain a little bit, as it really became a full-time job. That wasn't to say I was having no fun, it's just where it started to become difficult. And through the DLCs, you know, they were kind of exciting, but they were not what we knew was coming next, which was a Gen 4 remake, surely. And sure enough, we got not one, but two Sinnoh games, BDSP, wasn't so exciting in the end. But Legends Arceus, which is so my wheelhouse, the lore of the Pokemon world, the ancient histories, new Hisuian forms. Legends Arceus is one of my favorite Pokemon games ever. It may be my favorite. It's certainly up there in the top sort of 3 to 5 range. And I just absolutely adore the game and everything they did with that. Even if they announce a Legends game next year, I probably won't come back to cover it, at least during the launch cycle of it, because I want to enjoy the game. I just want to like play it and enjoy it and not look at trailers every 5 seconds. I think that's really needed for me if Birdkeeper Toby or if this YouTube channel has any future. I don't know, but yeah, I just want to go off and enjoy the game. Well, I tried to do about a charity event every single year. It was actually, it was the year of the Crown Tundra that Falcone and I teamed up, and with the combined powers of our online audiences and a week of streaming, we managed to raise $10,000 for cancer research. Thank you so much to anyone who contributed to that. It really means a lot. Started doing a hidden Easter eggs and secrets series, which is kind of something that's always interested me and got me into YouTube in the first place. Did a lot of brand sponsors. Thank you to everyone who was like just cool with me doing brand sponsors. Meant a lot, and again, just allowed me to kind of make the job into something a lot more successful. So thank you. It allowed me to not worry. Basically, it allowed me to pay editors and just like keep on like paying for cool ideas and working with community members and artists, and not worrying and stressing too much if there was a bad month. So yeah, I moved into this house with Falcone and the Lost Shaman in 21. I'm not, yeah, whenever the year that like between BDSP and Legends Arceus, it was a very stressful time, double game release, but I moved in, did the Legends game, and it's been amazing to kind of have my own space to make content from in the way that I want, whenever, without worrying about keeping my parents awake or anything like that, and to be living with friends and to be living with Phoebe is lovely, and to have been living with Falcone, obviously he's moved out now, was amazing as well. And obviously we've got our friend Jake, and we've now got another friend I won't name because I don't know if she wants to be named, but we've got another friend that we're living with, and yeah, things are going well, and we're beginning to look up, because it was kind of like that post-pandemic-y era. Plus, I really found that I just hit my stride with the Legends videos. There were a bunch of theories around that time I was just really proud of and really happy with what I was making. It was this year and in the new house that Falcone and I started Content House, in this actually very room. I also did the Carmine podcast with True Green 7. That went to some unexpectedly deep places. Additionally, I started my personal journey in therapy, a journey that has ultimately led me to this point where I'm ready to leave the channel behind and move on to the next steps, but don't think of it as a negative. This is definitely for the best. I also tried doing the odd couple of Legend of Zelda videos. They didn't do terribly on Birdkeeper Toby, but they didn't do bad either. And it really gave me the hope that maybe when the new Tears of the Kingdom would come out, I should do something about that. And sure enough, about 2 weeks before Tears of the Kingdom came out, that of course being this year, 2023, I decided I was going to make a Zelda channel, and I was just going to be honest about labeling it. Like, this was not going to be profound Zelda theories that would share with you the deep secrets for the world. This was going to be kind of fun, goofy, absurd Zelda theories, and so that's what the channel is. I haven't uploaded there like much since Tears of the Kingdom. I kind of did a couple of videos around that time. They did very well. We hit over 10,000 subscribers, 13,000 subscribers. The channel hit monetization. I could make money potentially doing that, but I don't want to burn it out. I don't want to do what I've done with this channel. Instead, I'm just going to enjoy it. The 1 month a year I'm really into Zelda. Maybe that will be how I do it. And maybe that's how I'll do this channel in the future, once I've had a break. Again, I just don't know. And of course, over this last 2 years, we had the launch of Scarlet and Violet and Scarlet and Violet's DLC. It felt a little bit soon for me, and honestly, the games left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. There was a lot to like in there, sure, but there was also just a lot that I didn't like. And I realized that my full-time job was making videos about a franchise that I was falling out of love with. This idea that no one loved Pokemon more than me, it just wasn't something that I believed in anymore. It wasn't something I felt, and I felt that I was just doing it because it's my job. By late 2022, I felt like pretty sure that maybe the end was coming up, but I decided to see out 2023. I wanted to be sure. I wanted to be certain. Additionally, I had a brand relationship going on that I was contractually obliged to, which is allowing me to take this break and has allowed me to kind of work on making some of the best videos I could, including videos where I've literally visited Japan and New York to explore the areas that inspired like many of the Japan areas, like not actually Kitakami, but like Kitakami adjacent. And then of course Unova, which is so well timed because of the Indigo disc, which was just a nice, happy accident. I got to revisit some of my favorite videos and favorite theories, especially over the last months. And then about 6-7 months ago, I made the decision that yes, This was the last year. I was tired. I don't want to drag this channel to a place where I don't like making videos anymore. I want this project, this Birdkeeper Toby project, with its over 250,000 subscribers, with its near 1,000 videos across the channel history, I believe. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's what it said in my video dashboard a little while ago. That across all of this, that it's been a success, and it has. I'm really happy with how the Birdkeeper Toby project has gone, how this time of my life has gone. But it's also been a good percentage, like 95% of my life has gone into this over the last 9 years. I need to find out who Toby is underneath Birdkeeper. I need to work out who he is and what he wants. I'm now taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to be 30 in April, and everything I do over the next year is really in service of my 31-year-old self. That might be coming back to YouTube and doing Birdkeeper Toby, or rebranding and doing some other Pokemon YouTube thing. It might be doing absurd Zelda theories. It might be going off into the world of acting, maybe, if I'm lucky. It might be doing some creative writing, or maybe just making D&D campaigns. Maybe making D&D content. It might be streaming. It might be VTubing. I don't know. I have no idea, and that's the idea. Birdkeeper Toby is not just a YouTube channel, it's also a mindset of work that I've been doing since the very beginning, because when I started this YouTube channel, a job as a YouTuber was not a sure thing. I felt I had a lot to prove, and in order to do that, I needed to work very, very hard. Every minute of every day became a thing to do on the to-do list, and has been for the last 9 years. I really struggled to switch off. And so I'm jumping into the unknown. I'm jumping into the abyss, and it's gonna be uncomfortable for me. But I'm excited for it as well. I'm excited to discover what's kind of underneath all of this and go on my own personal journey. And I'm sure if you follow me on all my various social medias, which are linked in the description, of course, you'll find out what's happening for me next. However, maybe you're sad. Birdkeeper Toby's over. This YouTube channel, this time of life, it's done. Yeah, okay. Well, look, if you want more Pokemon YouTube, there are so many wonderful Pokemon YouTubers out there that you can and should subscribe to. There are, of course, the previously mentioned, Candy Eevee, Liam, PD Winner, True Green 7, MJ TV, Pokevids. And there's also, Pokemon Theory channels that I watch. And I'm gonna forget people if I just try listing them off my head randomly, but, we've got Lumiose Post and Dusty Go-Go and Soul Silver. I guess he doesn't really do YouTube. There's Hybrid Hero and Kayla's Capsule and SB Juju and Captain Fidget. There's Game Boy Luke and Virtually Marty, Umbreon Libris, Gator X, Emperor Cubone, Patters, Pragmatic, Hoops and Hip Hop, Lockstin, Wolfie VGC. I'm telling you, Wolfie's videos are actually incredible. I'm not even a competitive Pokemon person. This guy's raising the stakes. And I can't possibly mention all of the names. They are listed in the various video descriptions of the videos you've watched over the years, of all of the editors, musicians, GFX artists, filmographers, and just general Pokemon artists, Fakemon artists that you've seen the works of over the years. While I can't name all, certainly I've worked the most with Eden's Things, Cot Lollish, Lou Gray, Pythagoras, who helped me out with all of Cardkeeper Toby, Bara O'Connor, who helped me out with so much Pokemon Tempest. Speaking of Pokemon Tempest, obviously Alex Allen, who has done so much of the artwork over the years on this channel. It's just been an absolute blessing to work with. Cloud Klaus, who's done so much of the music. My good friend Kevin, Michael Dean, Cupperfee, who's done artwork for me as well, including the Tree of Evolutionary Life, and all my friends and family who have given me sage advice over the years. All of it's gone into the channel, and of course a huge thank you to Ruin Maniac Files, who is not only one of the YouTubers that I love here on the platform, but who has also been editing this video. Ruin, thank you for sending us home. And to anyone I didn't mention, no, I am so incredibly grateful, just a little bit forgetful. And there's so many wonderful people that I've tried to collaborate with over the last year or so to really try and give them the best platform possible, but the number one person that I have to beg you, please go and support, is my girlfriend, Cupperfee. A couple months ago, before I quit the channel, she just said, I want to give it a go. The YouTube thing you've been doing, I really think I've got something to offer. And she did, and she made that first video, and I was so unbelievably impressed. And every time I go past her office door and I see her working on something, I continue to be impressed. I am a fan of hers, not just in that she is my girlfriend and I want to be supportive of her, but I genuinely think her content is next level. All other Fakemon videos... Oh, I forgot to mention Pokemon Tempest. How did I forget to mention Pokemon Tempest? I did a Fakemon series. But still, it's blown out of the water by what Phoebe is doing. These videos are so above and beyond. They take so much time. She's making about a video a month at the moment. It would mean the world to me if to continue this YouTube story, if this wasn't your hopping off point. but instead you continued in the capable hands of Cupperfee, who is just now trying to make YouTube a career. It doesn't happen just because I'm a YouTuber. She has to work for it. But I ask you to consider giving her videos a go. I know you won't regret it, and I don't think you want to miss out on the journey she's about to go on to. In fact, I know you don't want to. She has 3 or 4 videos up at the moment. They are all absolutely exceptional quality. Consider leaving likes, comments, subscribing, and help her on her YouTube journey, and she's going to reward you with some of the best Pokemon content you've seen on YouTube. Additionally, if there are those of you who would consider going above and beyond, even my own Patreons who would want to just stop their memberships with me, obviously they're going to be on pause anyway, but move your memberships over to her and help her make it a job, that would mean the world to me. So her link is the absolute top of the description. There are a couple of events I'm going to next year. I mentioned MegaCon, also Manga Pop in Plymouth. I will hopefully see some of you in these places, but generally I'm going to be relatively off the internet. So if you want to keep up to date with me, follow Cupperfee, because I make the occasional odd appearance unintentionally when disturbing her while she's filming. One last time, I want to say thank you for any amount of time you've ever watched or interacted with any of my videos. Without you, this didn't happen. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll see you again in the future here. Maybe I'll be elsewhere. Maybe I'll be Birdkeeper Toby, or maybe I won't be. I look forward to going into this new year with a complete blank slate. And just thank you for everything you've given me. Oh, I'm gonna cry! Thank you, everyone. And of course, as always, soar high, Pokemon Masters. Woo!